done. That's episode, you were saying 30 weeks in 30 weeks? Episode 15?
I think it's 31 weeks because I was sick one week and I didn't do the edit one week. But other than that, yeah, it's like more than half a year now for episode 15 of Shack Out Back, everybody.
Is that more than half a year? How many weeks are in a year? 52? I guess it is.
56.
Hey, wow.
Yeah.
56? Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's 52. That sounds correct.
I don't know. You're probably right, Dan.
Yeah, that's episode 15. So
my mind has been warped by the power of Afro Samurai.
Yeah, we've with I think all within the last 24 hours have dived into our topic this week, which was our forgotten podcast episode last time. We're talking about Afro Samurai, everything, the movie, the manga. I'm going to talk about the manga.
You're going to talk about the manga. Yeah. I watched the movie and the show. I watched all of that, today, which isn't very long. It's like 3.5 hours, but
yeah, it's not bad.
Starting out the week like we always do, Dan, it's the fucking bi-weekly breakdown. So what have you been doing,
I'll start.
Manuel?
I've been doing some stuff. I just want to say, Jim, we both sound tired. Could it maybe be because it's almost 10 p.m. on a Saturday night?
Yeah, and I need to do all the edit tomorrow, and I have D&D prep to do tonight, too. So it's going to be a long one for old Jim.
I just got back from working 8.5 hours, and I work the same thing tomorrow.
Oh.
Big, long, old times. But bi-weekly breakdown this week, I feel like I've done quite a bit. I finally promoted all the dudes in Deep Rock so I can do the Elite Deep Dive that we've been doing with all the classes, which is really good.
Yeah, with Brandon and Pat. It's been fun. We've been playing a fucking lot of Deep Rock.
I love it.
I've pinged over 200 hours on it now.
Yeah, I just popped over 105 or something. I got a Ring Fit Adventure, that game for the Switch with the big, like, workout band. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, explain to me, like, what the RPG elements of this game are.
So, I got it because it was a little tiny bit on sale, but I've always been intrigued by it. And as always, like, those workout things, you're like, you read the reviews, right, and they say it's hard, but, like, in your mind, you're like, well, how hard can it be? Like,
I've worked out before.
on, yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah. Let me tell you, it's not that easy. I set the thing to intense because, like, there's, like, 4 different difficulties. Intense is the second highest. And I'm pretty sure they just influence the amount of reps that you do. They might influence different stuff, but I think it's just the amount of reps to kill enemies and stuff like that. So yeah, the main idea is you go through each stage and there's like a big boss that you have to do from each world, and he kind of moves around between worlds and gets stronger and you level up. But the worlds are all very linear paths that you sort of guide through. I haven't seen any branching stuff, but granted, I'm not that far. I've only done it for 2 or 3 days, so I'm about an hour into it.
Is it really focused on, like, the workouts you're doing? Because is it
100%.
Like, you run between the stages and then do workouts to beat enemies?
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
To the next stage?
Yeah,
okay,
you got it.
Sense.
So yeah, you jog to move around the world. You have to lift up your legs, and if you encounter stairs going up or down, you have to lift up your knees about to your chest level to really start moving down them. Yeah. So they really want you to lift up your knees and stuff. So that's not that bad. The running's not too bad, but it's the little things. The real things are the battles, yeah. So how you fight people are, you have all these different moves. I think you start with 4, but there's like 50 or something in the game that you unlock gradually as you level up and meet masters of the world and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're all different workouts. So like right now I can choose like squatting or overhead presses or stomach crunches, or there's yoga mixed in too. The yoga's like a cooldown period, so it does a lot of damage and it's quite easy, but it has a long cooldown. And each attack has like at least a 1-turn cooldown to incentivize you. Like you can't just keep doing one thing that you're good at. You have to kind of mix and match. So you'll pick squatting and it'll do like, I think my reps are about 30 reps. So you'll do 30 squats or whatever and it'll damage it and get faster and damage the enemy and stuff. And then you have to pick a different thing. And you just kind of mix and match, beat the boss. That takes a long time. You have to kind of guard stuff by doing crunches so you don't get hurt as much by other enemies. It's very interesting.
It seems like I remember I was listening to a Talking Dads podcast, which is the Patreon exclusive podcast for Dungeons and Daddies, and they were talking about how everything in life has been gamified, and they're just talking about that thing where you like go to we're a man, we're both men, we go to the toilet and we see if we can like flush the toilet and then piss all our piss out. Water goes out of the toilet.
Yeah,
and then one of the people made a joke that was like, we've been so affected by video games that we need to gamify everything in life, and we have no time to spend with our thoughts. So I'm glad this is like the inverse of that, where it's like gamifying something to have a positive.
It's good.
benefit.
Yeah, it's actually good. That reminds me, No Time With Our Thoughts. I like the picture on Twitter. I see it every now and then. It's like a dude watching a video with headphones in from a different device, looking at a TV, reading a book, and it just says, consuming all forms of media so I have no thoughts. And it always makes me laugh.
That's how I black it out. That's how I black out existence.
Consuming everything.
Anything else you've been doing besides getting fat reps in, Dan? Working on your toned-ass body?
By the time this goes up, I will have had my last shift at Farm Boy, so I'll be fully done there. I got a car. What am I saying? I got a car.
Oh, yeah, you bought a car.
I bought a car. That's That's an actual thing to talk about. I bought a 2012 Ford Focus Titanium. So a little bit older, but kilometer-wise is really good. It's got like 175, which is quite good for a 10-plus-year-old car.
It's pretty good for and a daily driver too.
Yeah. So it's one driver. There were no accidents. The outside and inside are perfect. No scratches or dents or anything like that.
Perfect. Chef kiss.
Yeah, I think I found a really good deal. I'm picking it up like next week or something, and then I'll be picking you up Saturday when we do our big loop around the trail. It's like 20K.
We're going on a big hike next weekend, which I'm excited for. The weather has been so nice the last few days. I was kind of out of it today, but yesterday was pretty good. I just started going for a walk, and I didn't stop.
You said
I was outside for like 3 hours in my dad's sandals. I think I walked like 10K or something. I got back home. My feet were destroyed, but it was a good day.
Do you think anyone was watching you? Do you think you're on any watch lists from just aimlessly wandering around the community for 3 hours?
That's how I shook them. I shook the aliens that have been trying to invade my mind, Dan. I lost their beta rays by going out in a random place they wouldn't expect me. No, there was a lot of people out. That's why that's part of the reason why I like going for walks, is that like you see a lot of people. I like looking at, not looking in houses, that'd be creepy, but
I like looking in houses. Me too.
I like looking at like, I like houses. I like the way people have set up like their homes and stuff, not on the inside again.
Like I like looking inside. I like seeing them sleeping. I like looking in and seeing them relaxing inside their kitchen cabinets and stuff, looking around, eating dinner.
I like that. I like now that it's spring and you get to see like people's gardens and stuff. Like I enjoy going around looking at that stuff.
I like that.
I'm going to my part of the bi-weekly breakdown because I wrote it down. I watched a movie called Ray, which is like a 2005 or 2006
biopic. Oh, you were telling me.
Ray Charles.
Yeah.
You didn't know who Ray Charles was,
and I still don't.
Me. Yeah, he was a singer in the 60s.
Wait, why am I saying I didn't know who this guy was? I said I knew who he was yesterday, and I even told Cassie he was blind. What the hell? What the fuck?
Maybe you just didn't know the name.
Maybe.
I enjoyed that biopic a lot. The first time I saw it was on stolen Mexican HBO in Cuba when I was like 10. So it was nice to see it in like 1080p and widescreen. Jamie Foxx did a really good job playing him, but I think the direction kind of fucking sucked. But you know that thing in Star Wars where they do like a screen wipe transition? Yeah. There's a bunch of screen wipes in this movie that really made me annoyed. So other than that, it was pretty good. I watched Chernobyl. I watched the whole miniseries Chernobyl. It was fucking depressing and really good. Yeah, I really got obsessed with Chernobyl, and I just like spent $40 and got the 4K Blu-ray and got it from Amazon, and I watched it all in like a day.
Good lord, really?
Yeah. I've been playing a lot more D&D with my friends and like thinking about it and setting stuff up. So as a result, I was playing Baldur's Gate 3 again, which
you were saying.
I bought the early access, and I've talked about that before, but I haven't done all the content in it yet, which I'm planning to do soon in the next few days. And if you do everything right in early access, it's like 20 hours of content. It's a lot of content. Yeah.
How long is that game slated to be? Like, what do they do? You said it wasn't episodic. It's just going to be a whole story. They're just kind of releasing things when they're done?
No. They released Act 1.
Okay.
Which is like just the first part of the game, and they're adding the things they're adding to the game. It's not an episodic thing, but they're like bug fixing and adding classes and races, I think, before they release the game. But like the other 4 acts of the story, I think, are going to come as one chunk that'll be released.
Really?
Like, the end of this year or the beginning of next year.
So it'll at least be like 50+ hours. It'll be a big game.
Oh, it'll be longer than that. It'll probably be like 80, 90, 100 hours if you want to do everything.
Yeah, that sounds like a ball.
Yeah, based on like what it is, it's a lot more technically impressive than me and you have played Divinity 2. It's a lot more technically impressive than that. And like the variety of stuff they've included in it, like branching paths and talking to NPCs and shit has just blown me away. I'm very looking forward to when that game's finished, and I will have it because I bought into the early access. I still wouldn't recommend people to get the early access just because
I still think it's weird.
Yeah, it's $80 for a game that's not finished, and it's really fun to play around with and do a lot of fun stuff in, but I don't know. People have spent more money on less shit. Like, people have bought into early access stuff that has, like, less value. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I still think it's bizarre because it's early access and it's not cheaper at all. Like, usually there's kind of an incentive, but I guess the incentive is just mega fans that want to kind of be in from the ground up. So
there's like you can send. I think they have a fairly open policy of you like sending in like feedback and stuff to them too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you get exclusive stuff with it. I'm not sure. That might roll out later on, but I don't know. I didn't regret doing it, and I'm very looking forward to playing through that game and then replaying it like in co-op with someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I will get it. How does it run on your computer, by the way?
It's pretty intensive. I would say my rig's not the best, so it's okay at 1080p 60. I'm probably hitting that most often, and it's not well optimized right now either.
Yeah.
Early access. It definitely runs, and if you had a better computer, it would run well.
It's just sucking. Like, say what you were gonna say.
The only thing that holds my computer back is like I have an older CPU and stuff, so that's what really holds my performance back. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it really sucks for me because I'm in a hard place where I'm like, I don't want to keep buying brand new games. Not to say that I do it all, but like I don't want to keep buying brand new AAA games because I want to get a new graphics card, so I don't want to be limited by what I'm doing right now. It's kind of shitty. Like that whole graphics card thing is really getting to me lately.
How the graphics cards that are on the market are just exploding in value because of crypto.
Yep, literally
it's
are
shit.
fucked.
I looked up the graphics card I bought in the beginning of 2020. Literally January 2020, I ordered it, and I ordered it for like $350 CAD, and the same card is $900 right now.
They're ridiculous. Like, we've talked about it before, but every couple days I kind of be like, oh, maybe I'll check around, like maybe Canada Computers. I'll need to go in when all this is done and like get my name on some backlog or something.
That's literally what I've told everyone who's talked to me about computers. I said, if you want new parts, call Canada Computers and ask for them. If they don't have a list, ask them to make one. Like, the only way they're going to do this is to do that. But and people who aren't from our town, if you want to get computer cards, like, support your local fucking businesses. Do not try to get something from a scalper or get something off Amazon.
Yeah, fuck that. I'd rather not have a graphics card than fuck around and buy one from some dickhead who bought 20 of them.
Yeah, fuck that. But with that cheery note, on to our topic at hand, Dan. We're talking about Afro Samurai, the whole shebang, all of it. So,
what are your thoughts? Okay, I'm going to say it interests me. Did you like it again? Did you like it more?
I want to save that for the end.
Okay.
I don't want to tell you that right now. But, like, how did you hear about Afro Samurai? What is your history with Afro Samurai?
Okay, I think Afro Samurai has a pretty special place in my heart. Like an anime fan, I've watched it quite a few times. It's not a long series to rewatch or anything, but I think about it very fondly.
It's 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
For the show and the movie. That's pretty condensed. Like, I watched it all this afternoon.
Yeah, I think about it very fondly. I have very good memories of watching it and rewatching it and kind of looking up stuff about it and being very intrigued by it. So I believe my brother showed me it first, and it was far too violent for me to watch as a kid.
It came out in 2007, the show did.
So I would have been 8.
Yeah, and then the movie came out in 2009, so you'd have been 10.
Yeah, so it's quite a violent show. And it's quite it reminds me of, I don't believe it aired on Funimation, but it's got an old school, like, late night anime grit to it. It's very hyper violent, and the characters are very one note for the most part. They all have an extreme personality trait that they flow to, and every woman is like hypersexualized, and
there's lots of booba. Yeah, lots of booba.
Lots of booba. It's a very gritty, dirty anime, but yeah, I believe my brother showed me it, and then I don't know when I would have picked it back up. It's just one of those things you hear as like an anime fan. You're like, oh, there's an anime with Samuel Jackson voicing a character, and there's lots of people that I talk to that have never heard of it, but yeah, that's kind of my thing. And then I watched it for the first time probably in grade 8 or 9, probably maybe earlier than that, 7 or 8. And I liked it quite a lot. I liked it enough to like immediately rewatch it again and immediately start telling people about it. So, but this was the first time I read the manga. I don't know why I'd never had before, because it's only 2 volumes. It's like 400 pages put together.
The way I was introduced to this was we were doing that old podcast, and you said, "Jim, Afro Samurai is awesome," and my friend Shane said, "Jim, it's the best anime I've ever seen," and I watched it. And I was, I found it in a bookstore, like a used bookstore.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
We were just talking about it, and I got Afro Samurai, the complete murder sessions, which is the show and the movie.
Very hard to fucking buy now.
For like $25. I don't know how much it'd be right now. How much is it on Amazon?
Let me pop up. Yeah, because that's what it's called. Afro Samurai, the complete murder sessions. Just a stupid, gritty name. So Amazon doesn't have it anymore, but you can buy it used for $140.
Yeah.
Like it's a very hard thing to get now because it's just kind of fallen. There was never anything.
It's out of print because they probably can't make any money off of it.
Yeah.
And the people who have it do not want to sell it. That was the same thing with like I remember me and you and Cass went out to the mall one day. We went to HMV before it closed in Canada, and I bought The Big Gun Down with Lee Van Cleef. Which is a spaghetti western, and then I looked at it on Amazon last year or something, and it was $350.
Yeah, my God, wasn't that? Maybe I'm just thinking of it because. Also, wait 1 sec. Did you say you got the Blu-ray?
Yeah, I have the Blu-ray.
Okay, it's $280. So it's quite a lot of fucking money. But I was gonna say, isn't that the same with? Maybe I'm just thinking about it because I like saying the name. That other movie you got, Paint My Wagon, whatever.
No, I just said it, The Big Gun Down.
Oh, The Big Gun Down. Okay, I always think the Paint My Wagon movie has gone up in value, but obviously it hasn't.
No. I was on a quest a few years ago, a long time ago, probably like 5 or 6, 7 years ago, to watch every Clint Eastwood movie that he's made. I don't think I've seen Paint Cadillac and something else. I think I'm missing 2 of them. But I bought Paint Your Wagon, and it was the most boring, fucking unbearable film to watch I have ever tried to watch in a long time. Which is weird, because it has Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood, who I both enjoy, and it is just awful.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. But let's get into it. So,
let's get into it.
Afro Samurai, quick summary for those who haven't seen it. Afro Samurai follows very easy story. There's 2 headbands in the world. One of them's headband number 1, one of them's headband number 2. Headband number 1 is said to grant you immortality and the power of a god and rule over the world and things like that. Headband number 1 can only be challenged by headband number 2, so whoever owns headband number 2 can only fight headband number 1. But if you have headband number 2, anyone in the world can challenge you to a fight, and you are required to fight. Yeah. So it's a life of constant fighting and constant danger, and everyone trying to challenge you.
So the series follows Afro, who is like voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, who's just going around trying to avenge the death of his father, who was the previous number 1.
Yeah. Yeah,
who got killed by a snake cowboy, Ron Perlman.
Yeah, he got killed by Justice is that character's name. I think they only say it once in the manga. Maybe I don't even know if they say it originally in the show. I think they might say it once in the movie. But yeah,
they say it a couple times in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Afro Samurai was a little boy and watched his dad get killed by Justice, who then took the number 1 headband and basically told young Afro to come back when you're strong enough and try and face me. Yeah, and he is like a snake. He's he's definitely not human.
A very samurai tale.
Yeah.
A very cliche tale.
It's not a thinker's man's tale. It's quite easy to understand.
What's the background of the manga for this?
So yeah, the story kind of follows that, and you just see Afro go kind of town to town, and he has to fight a clan called the Empty Seven that wants the number 2 headband also to betray the number 1. But yeah, the manga varies so differently. It's honestly not the same story.
Is it written by one guy?
It's written by one dude, and the afterword of the manga was quite interesting because the game also follows a different story. Both games follow different stories, and the manga follows a different story, and the movie and show follow different stories.
I figured the show and the movie to me felt more like they took the characters and the visual style and just applied it to like a different. They might have taken some things from the books, but it felt like a greatest hits because people were dying real fucking quick in the show.
You were meeting people and they were dead in 10 minutes.
That was one of my one problems, that like the first 2 or 3 episodes of the anime, Afro was fighting these things called the Empty Seven clan. Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically like pin-headed old men, and then he defeats like a robot version of himself, and then he kills the majority of them in 3 seconds. Like they're all dead within 5 minutes. They're like, Afro, we're gonna kill you, and then he stabs 2 of them through the head at the same time and like just kills them like in 8 seconds.
Yeah, so the manga, what I was saying, the afterward, the director basically said that he never had a complete story for Afro Samurai that was canon. He said every single story is canon in different universes where these characters exist, so he wants everyone to imagine different scenarios. So it
reminded me a lot of spaghetti westerns, and specifically The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, because that whole trilogy, the Dollars trilogy, which is The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, A Few Dollars More, and A Fistful of Dollars, all deal with a lot of the same actors as like the bad guys and all the same actors as the good guys, playing similar roles, but they all kind of have their own, I wouldn't call it a universe, but they all have their own story that is like separate from the other movies, because the bad guy in the first, like for A Few Dollars More and Fistful of Dollars, is the same guy that the same character kills again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's kind of like, it's kind of the same thing then. They're not really any loose canon. Like, it's kind of all happening. Time is kind of funky, basically.
I would say that, like, beyond that story structure, too, a lot of the elements of, like, you know, the lone samurai and the lone gunslinger, you can see it a lot, like, with Justice and a lot of the samurai characters. And mixed with those two, because that's very palpable, that samurai genre and that cowboy genre, is this like hip hop culture that's in here too, which I enjoy a lot.
Love it. I love the fucking album for this song.
The 2 things I love to death in the movie and the show was the animation, which was awesome,
fluid, great,
and the music by the RZA. The
RZA's fantastic.
Yeah, that both of these soundtracks are really, really good. I enjoyed them both.
Like the scene that I always think about when I think about Afro Samurai, but I don't know if it's in the show or the movie. I think it's in the movie, but I always think about it when I think about Afro Samurai, is the bridge fight from the start of Afro Samurai Resurrection, where the 2 French fencer guys come up and they're fighting him on the bridge.
Yeah.
And they're stabbing him, and they stab him through the foot, and he comes up and he spins around them and like turns them to mincemeat and slices them all up instantly.
Yeah, this is a very like disturbingly
grotesque,
like a lot of I feel like one of the things I didn't like in this show is the whole like booba aspect of it, like the whole sexual,
it was odd,
aspect
I
of
will
it.
say.
It's very indulgent in sex, and like there's not, I would say that there aren't really very many powerful women in this like show. Movie,
not at all,
because the antagonist of the movie is played by Lucy Liu, and she, at the beginning, she seems like, she's this really charismatic, like evil character. She must be really powerful, and she dies in like 3 seconds.
She's not powerful at all. She's just manipulating people.
Yeah.
The oddest thing to me with the whole sex aspect of it is, it's always felt weird to me. Like, the manga does a way better job of it, but I don't really know why they forced it into the show. When Afro meets Otsuru, the girl who reads his dreams when he gets really hurt. So obviously that's Otsuru from the dojo. Like that is the little
this
girl.
Character, so this character is a little girl in a dojo.
Like very small, much younger than him.
Yeah, and even when Afro left the dojo when he was like a teenager, she was still like
she was still young.
Like, she was still a little kid, and then he like finds her again and has sex with her. I don't like that.
It's always
very much
felt
at
weird
all.
To me. Yeah, that's always felt off.
I read this story by Patrick DeWitt. I've talked about his other books before, and it's called Ablutions, and it's told in the second person. So the premise of this book is you yourself are the narrator. You reading the book are the narrator, and you are a bartender and a piece of shit in a bar in LA. And in this story, like a lot of patrons come back, and he was telling one of the part of the book. He's like, people tell lies all the time, and there was this dude telling a story about how he saved this little girl, this 6-year-old girl, like out of like depression or poverty or something. And then the narrator says, at least he didn't have a sex aspect to the story, thank God. And then the guy comes back and says 15 years later she gave him his virginity or something. And that kind of like, that kind of is a part of Afro Samurai where I didn't like that they were like, she was like a little kid and then she was basically
you immediately see her, you immediately see her and she has huge tits and a huge ass and she wants to have sex with him very badly. It felt like it came from nowhere and then she died. And the manga did the manga, he never had sex with her, and she was more his age. Like it's very different in the manga. She was more his age, and they were more very open with each other. That like in the manga, he also speaks a fuck ton more, way more.
He just doesn't say shut up.
He says like Jackson voice. Yeah, Samuel Jackson. I don't know what he would have got paid or.
Well, the thing is that like in the story, so Afro is going around and like killing people and shit and trying to avenge his father. Right? Let me take a sip of water. And following him around is his imaginary friend who's a ninja.
Ninja is his name.
Who is also played by Samuel L. Jackson, who never shuts the fuck up.
Yes. So Ninja is again very different. In that in the anime he is basically Afro Samurai's imaginary friend.
Yeah.
More specifically, he's referred to in the manga as a guardian of the world. He's a guardian of the headband, basically. And there's actually a character in the manga that you never ever see in the anime called Takamoto, which is the other guardian of the headband. He's the guardian of the number 1 headband. And he's like a little black kid with like a Japanese demon mask on that uses like ropes and wires to fight people. And they kind of interact, and it's quite interesting because it gives the world a very mystical sense to it.
That reminds me of The Darkness. Do you remember in The Darkness?
Yeah.
What's the guy's name in The Darkness?
Jackie.
Jackie had that like Jackie had that Darkling who like followed him around.
Yes.
And they would quip at each other. It reminded me of that a lot.
Yeah.
That's a fun relationship to explore in media.
I love Ninja, especially in the anime. He has some great lines. And Afro Samurai maybe says, do you think his dialogue's even half a page?
No.
Like he says, Shut up. And he says, what are some other great Afro Samurai lines?
I will avenge my father.
Yeah, he says, I will avenge my father. But Ninja's busting out, he's about to bust the 2 sword move on you. Ninja's, even in the rain, she had an ass for days. She was hot to trots.
Jesus Christ.
Lots of stuff like that.
It felt like the manga had
I was sending you pictures, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very striking visual style, and I enjoyed a lot of the illustrations that were in the panels you sent me, especially... was that the robot Afro that you sent me?
Yeah, so Afro Droid the manga has a huge robot cock.
Yeah, he has a huge dangling robot cock.
And it's not just like I have some Freudian horrible mind that sees penises and everything. I mean, they drew him with his legs spread after he was sliced in 2, and he has a huge pipe where his crotch is, and it even has like a little head that's made of metal parts.
It felt like they took a lot of that visual aspect from the manga, which was probably the strongest part, and that's why the animation is so good. I feel like, especially in the show, a lot of the character designs that are just like regular people, like the kids at the dojo and the people that Afro kills and stuff, aren't very strong. They seem to be kind of generic-y, but the main characters,
they're great.
Like Afro and Ninja and the teddy bear headed guy,
Kuma, yeah.
And Justice are very striking and very strong.
Yeah, I like Justice. I didn't really realize it was Ron Perlman at first, but yeah, he does a fantastic job because Justice is like, they never really say what he is, but he's not human in the slightest. He has a third arm.
Yeah, it felt like this is the kind of show where they would say, "Oh, it's after an apocalypse," right? Is that the premise?
Yeah, right.
Of the
That's
manga?
So the manga never goes into it either, which I think is a good choice because it kind of makes the reader pick. And I always imagined it was either because it's a weird time period. They're using guns.
It's a hand. I always say it's a hand wavy thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's basically feudal Japan with like cell phones and robots and
weird
like machine guns and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
the manga does a lot of stuff differently. The manga has all the same base characters, I would say, but the ending is completely different, which I want to talk about. So if you haven't watched it, just go watch it.
Yeah, I mean, we every week for the show we say go watch it before we talk about it, so don't even sweat it. Yeah, tell me how the ending differs. The ending of Afro Samurai is like he kills Justice or whatever. He gets the #1 headband, but he like denies wearing it and stuff.
Yeah,
and then the movie is him having to put the the #2 back on, and then have to go fight the teddy bear headed guy.
He does it all again. Yeah,
his sister. I didn't like that part of the movie either. That like clearly before. The sister character was the girl in the show that
totally. She was totally supposed to be Otsuru. Yeah, she was totally supposed to be Otsuru, and then they were like, fuck, we've already used the character, just make him have an adopted family.
Yeah, basically, Afro's best friend, who turns against him at the end of the show, had a secret sister that you never saw before.
Never had seen before, ever. Never mentioned.
And she is seeking justice against Afro because he hurt her brother or something. Like, it's not very strong.
Afro Samurai hurt her real family, but
which doesn't make sense.
Really understand. Yeah,
you don't see it in the movie. You
don't understand how, because why would he have fought them? It's kind of blurry. It's kind of weird.
So how does the manga end?
So the manga ends with Afro Samurai. It's the same base premise. There's a couple characters you don't see, but they don't really matter. You don't see a lot more at the dojo, but it gets to the same point. The main difference is the climax. So he climbs up the mountain, basically. He doesn't walk up it. It's like very clear. It's like a 3-day climb. So he climbs up the mountain, he gets to the top, and Ninja's basically talking to him. In the manga, Ninja is also a lot more openly like a god character.
Yeah.
Where
he reminded me too of the original Shadow Warrior game. Not the original one, but the remake one.
With that from floating head thing or whatever, right?
Yeah, the demon that followed Lil Wayne around in that show, yeah.
But yeah, Ninja's very overtly like, go this way, do this, it's up here, like, yeah. He climbs up the mountain and stuff like that. He gets to the top, and it's essentially... I looked up the translation, and it's a city in the crater at the very top of the mountain. There's not a little temple like there is in the anime. It's like a huge... It's like Tokyo at the top of the mountain, but there's no one there. It's the city of the gods, basically. And they said that back when #1 existed to kind of provide balance to the world, everyone that lived there was essentially gods as well. They had a bunch of different powers, so the city was made of like gold and diamond and stuff like that. Afro gets to the top, and this was after, in the manga, he fights about 100 Afro droids, and then a big Afro droid that's like the Queen Alien from Aliens. He gets to the top. Yeah, it's kind of weird. He gets to the top, and you find Justice, and Ninja's basically like, I don't think you're gonna like what's happening. Like, you're gonna have to take up the mantle. And he opens the door to Justice, and Justice is sitting there with a big cloak on. He doesn't say anything. Afro Samurai goes into a rage and runs up to him, and Justice disintegrates into dust. He's been dead for decades.
What?
Like, he has been dead for a long time sitting there. So, the main thing... Are you still there, brother?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Jim's here. He's taking it all in. The main thing was that it seemed in the manga, and as well as the show, they wanted to touch on it, but they didn't get to. #1 was kind of just there to balance the world, so people had a reason to fight towards one thing. It wasn't just aimless war. Everyone was fighting towards either the #2 or the #1.
Okay.
So... yeah, in the manga, Justice is dead. Justice does not come back. Afro Samurai does not fight Justice. He's been dead for a long time.
And Afro... I guess it's more of an existential ending
basically,
than a big fight.
And Afro Samurai does not take it very well. He basically breaks down and starts to laugh and cry and stuff and goes kind of insane. And it cuts ahead in the future a little bit, and you see what I'd assume was a character in the anime called Shichigoro, which was in the movie. Chichigoro was the dude that had the headband that wanted to just hide it and keep it a secret, and he had the
yeah,
little kid with him.
The guy who's played by Liam O'Brien.
Yes,
awesome
you said that.
I wanted to talk about the voice casting.
Yeah, 100%. So Afro basically is sitting there in the manga for a long time. He's an old man at this point.
Okay.
And the kid comes up, and Afro kills him instantly. Like, Afro is very dark in the manga. And it kind of just ends like that. Like, Afro has fulfilled the journey. He's kind of done. He's just there. It's a very existential, weird ending to the show. It's.
I mean, that's similar. That's similar to how the movie ended too, where it's just like, it's gonna keep going on, Afro. It's never gonna
basically
end.
Yeah.
But that's more of a dour ending. I don't know if I like
definitely.
That more.
I don't like it more. I think it's a fine ending, and I think it wraps everything up because it was just a quick two volume kind of thing. But yeah, it wraps it up in a way that it's kind of like, well, there's nothing left. Like
the endless cycle of violence, not getting you anything at the end, Dan.
Basically, it's not a good end. It's not a happy ending. But I wrote down something, because at the end, he's basically talking, and Takamoto's talking to Ninja and Afro Samurai, and he's basically like, you've become a live god, like a real-life god. A new age is beginning. I'm going to stake my life to protect you, all that stuff. And Ninja's basically says, it seems that it was worth the wait, that you've accepted your destiny as the number one, you old bastard. Your blood will not let you die. So you really do just become a statuette in the world to create balance between everyone. You don't do anything. You don't fight anyone.
Yeah, no one's going to kill Afro because Afro's like the best guy ever.
Yeah,
like,
you don't do anything.
He's just going to be number one and assure that there's still like a struggle and there's not going to be like an upheaval. That's fucked.
But after
that's
that,
a weird ending. I mean,
it's
props
bizarre.
to that. Yeah.
The only good thing I like about it is that after the credits of the manga and stuff, there's just two things that say Ninja's basically like, you've been holed up in here a long time like a pussy. The world out there's really gone to shit. Where do you begin? And it's just old man Afro, and he says, I'm going to keep moving forward. So it kind of paints the picture that the director definitely did not want to do anything else, but it also was back to what he was saying, where you can just imagine what else happens after the story's ended, which is good.
Afro kills a shitload more people.
Most likely. What do you want to say voice cast? Because it's amazing.
Did you know that Mark Hamill was in the movie?
Like Superman?
No, like the Joker and Luke Skywalker.
That's Mark Hamill. No, he's in the movie?
That's Henry Cavill.
That's what I'm thinking of.
About? He plays the guy who runs the shitty shop that makes crappy food, and he plays one of Lucy Liu's like family members, the guy who had the cigar mask. Yeah, it was really weird hearing his voice.
Hell?
It's strange how much star power was behind this. It reminded me a lot of, I watched a movie in theater. Now, I haven't seen this in 8 or 9 years. And it was called The Man with the Iron Fists. And it starred the RZA as basically a samurai with big gauntlets. And it also had
Man with the Iron Fist? That sounds like something I'd like.
And also it has like Lucy Liu and Batista and other people in it too. But it was weird seeing so many big names in this, like Ron Perlman and Samuel L. Jackson and Lucy Liu.
Yuri Lowenthal also voiced. You know that? He voiced Gino.
Yuri was in there too. Yeah, he plays the teddy bear man.
Yeah.
Which is
Kuma,
and he did a lot of background characters too. It's all those people that you hear a lot in dubs for anime and stuff. It was like Yuri Lowenthal, there's Liam O'Brien, and like some other recognizable voices where you don't know the name of, but you definitely like know them. Yeah, and those guys are so famous now. Like, Yuri Lowenthal is so famous. Like, he's the Spider-Man in the new Spider-Man games. Like, does voices for everything.
That's what he is. I recognize the name, and I was like, where is it from?
And Liam O'Brien is also on Critical Role. He's one of the cast members of Critical Role.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What the hell?
And they're both, guess what, Dan? They both do voices in Fallout New Vegas.
Alright, so are you saying Afro Samurai might take place in the Fallout New Vegas universe?
All I'm saying is if we go to feudal Japan in the next Fallout game and Afro Samurai's not there, I'm going to be disappointed. On to what I really don't like about this anime and this whole thing, and the movie, and why I'm probably going to wait another 3 or 4 years at least before I watch it. But, like, this story is, like, very generic.
It's you know what's gonna happen. He's gonna go through all these people. He's gonna beat them all up, and he's gonna come out on top every time.
He's not gonna die ever.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the sexual aspect of it. I didn't think that was good because the only character who's a woman in the show, who isn't the girl that is a little girl and then gets fucked as an adult by Afro, is like the seven. What are they called? The seven-headed men. What are they called? The seven empty men.
The empty seven.
The empty seven. Okay, they have like this woman who's with them, who's like licking poles and like licking their head. And then when Afro comes, she's never seen again. And those I think
she was only there for those scenes, exactly.
I think those are the only two women in the whole anime. And I feel like they were like, oh, we did a bad job with women characters. And then they brought in Lucy Liu for the movie. But again, I said like that character really didn't do anything. She basically just like rallied a bunch of people together who were trying to beat up Afro and then like killed the scientist man and then died.
Jim, you're forgetting there was one more female character who was not sexualized at all. It was
the lemonade
woman who served him
the lemonade woman.
She was an old, disgusting old woman that served him swamp water, and all the kids hated it except for him.
It's so weird that, like, where'd she get the lemons for the lemonade? Do lemons grow in Japan?
Lemons grow in old wasteland feudal Japan.
That didn't make any sense. Like, they just went to like this shack in the middle of nowhere,
it was lemonade.
And it was this old woman selling lemonade. Afro loved it, and that didn't make any sense at all.
There's a lot of weird stuff like that I like. Like, there's very weird stuff that I'm like, I wonder if it has a meaning. Like, when Afro Samurai orders lemonade in the future, he pulls out like an ornate gold and like purple gemstoned engraved straw.
And then it never comes back again.
And it never comes back. It's never explained. It never comes back.
Is it in the manga?
No, that's never in the manga.
That's so weird, dude.
So I don't know where the lemonade aspect came from. I don't know why it was made.
And like, I will say that I like the group fights a lot more than I like the
one-on-one fights.
Yeah, I liked it a lot more than the fight between him and the bareheaded man.
Kuma,
and the end fight with Justice, I didn't think was that good in the anime, but I liked when he was just cutting through guys.
Yeah, just like butters. I liked it too.
I think my favorite like big boss scene was the one in the movie where he was fighting Liam O'Brien, and it was in that like. That whole party thing that was going on.
Amazing.
In the festival. And they were like fighting in the festival and fighting ninjas, and then he threw the DJ at him and then cut him in half. Like, that was cool. Like, they used cool elements in the crowd, and they got other characters involved in the fight. I like that.
And that kind of touches on what I want to go to. And one more thing. I really like the weird character interactions. Like, I looked up the translation for it, but when Afro's fighting through all the people, the Empty Seven clans, there's one brother that doesn't fight him, and is just chanting, I believe he's chanting, Hachimaki o Kudasai.
What does that mean?
It means, please give me the headband. Please give me the headband. And he doesn't fight him. He just lets him go, and Afro just says no and walks past him.
And he comes back in the next movie,
He comes back in the movie, and he's a gambler.
I like that, yeah. I like that 3 came back, and 1 was there too, because 1 didn't really die.
He's just a horrible, like, vegetable.
He's a horrible, like, vegetable in a straitjacket. And you see his face was moving, but I remember, like, there's a scene where Afro's, like, gambling for something, like a dumb scene where, like, it's over in 3 seconds. But, like, 1 was, like, curling his toes around and around again in the background because he was afraid of Afro. That was really funny.
He's freaking out.
I feel like the movie did a better job, too, of integrating some of these different, I don't know if you'd say cultures, but different elements into the movie. Like, you see more black people. It felt more like a world.
It felt more like a lived in
than
world.
Just Afro.
Yeah.
And, like, you see, like, a bunch of different people, especially, like, in the gambling house and during the festival, you see, like, a lot of different people and a lot of different stuff going on. Like, a blend of that, like, black culture and feudal Japanese culture, which is, like, a weird thing to put together, but, I mean, it was a cool thing to have in this movie. Those are some of my favorite elements of both of them, but yeah, I think that the whole creepy aspect of it and the genericness of the plot and how the character interactions in terms of dialogue aren't great are what hold it back for me.
Yeah. So I wanted to briefly mention how basically in the manga he's a horrible person. Like he's not a great person in the anime, but like in the manga he is a dog shit person. there's a scene where he's fighting someone, and you get a little snippet before the chapter starts, and it's an older sister that's in a wheelchair talking to her younger brother, and she's basically like, please don't go to this party. It's kind of the same party in the movie. She's like, please don't go to this party. There's going to be problems. Like, our priest says there's going to be problems here. Please stay home. And he's like, no, I want to go. Yeah, whatever. Our priest. And he's like, no, I'm going. I want to dance. And
I want to dance.
That's essentially what he says. I'm pretty sure that is what he says. He's like, I really want to dance. And you're mad because you can't dance. He says some shit like that.
You wheelchair-bound fuck.
So he goes, Afro Samurai's fighting people, and without hesitation, Afro grabs this teenager and uses him to block a bunch of arrows and spears that are thrown at him. And it's like, oh my god. And then the girl in the wheelchair comes out almost at the end of this fight and is like, oh my god, you killed my teenage brother. How could you do that? And then it cuts to the next page and you see that he's now grabbed her and uses her to slice a dude in half like he did in the movie to the DJ guy. And I was like, oh my god. Like,
yeah, they definitely toned that down for the anime movie. Jesus Christ.
That's almost hard to be like, is he really the main character? He's just murdered two innocent civilians.
I feel like that, like, including scenes like that would make a lot more sense, because a big part of the movie is that, like, people are like, Afro, you killed my brother. Yeah. Afro, you killed my son. And they're all pissed about
I liked that a lot, and he started to feel remorse.
It was weird, you know. It was a good thing to have in that movie, but I feel like it would have been a little bit stronger if they included him killing a fucking wheelchair-bound girl.
So that was very odd. In the manga, too, he also gets hurt quite a lot. He actually gets damaged and hurt quite a lot, because it goes to show you, if you're fighting a huge Afro robot or a dude with RPGs, it doesn't matter if you're a good samurai, because it still hurts.
Yeah.
I want to finish in like 1 minute. I just want to talk about the video games for half a second, because they're both kind of dog shit, I've heard.
I watched some gameplay of it. They look bad. They look like a Wii game released in 2005.
So the first game was just Afro Samurai, and it never got anything happen to it. It was kind of mediocre, but I heard if you liked the series, it was passable, and I think it's only on PS3, and you can only get digital or disc copies now. The second one was more interesting to me because I didn't know that it came out, which is bad. It's always bad if you never know a game has come out.
What's that called? Like,
it was Kuma's Revenge. Yeah, it was Afro Samurai Kuma's Revenge, and it was supposed to be Kuma's the bear dude. Kuma, Gino, same person.
Okay.
So you played as Kuma, which is already less cool because who cares? You want to play as Afro. But it was supposed to be a trilogy series, like Kuma's Revenge and then something else and then Afro's story.
Oh, that's always a good thing to play in a trilogy right off the fucking gate.
And they apparently canceled the trilogy and removed online sales, and you almost can't buy this game anymore except if you got it in the short time it was sold physically, because it was so bad and broken, it was almost unplayable, and it's very hard to find actual footage of endgame levels because you almost couldn't get to them. So
like Action 52 on the NES.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I want someone to do a really good Afro Samurai game, like
I feel like this
Platinum Games.
This is a good base to make a good product.
Fucking amazing game
or something. Yeah.
Platinum Games makes a Bayonetta thing, and it's just Afro Samurai. That'd be fucking amazing.
I'd play that. That'd be fun. The last thoughts we have on Afro Samurai, Dan. My last thought is, it's not for me. I enjoyed some of it, but it's not for me. If you're 16 and you're a boy, you'll fucking love the shit out of this.
My last thoughts are, I loved it as a 16-year-old boy, and now I love it as a 22-year-old boy. Okay. Definitely go and watch it if you can. I think it's only streaming on Funimation, but there's other ways to watch it online.
Hey, you can pay $270 for a Blu-ray.
Yeah, you can do that. You can go over to Jim's house and watch it with him.
Bring your mask, bring a sandwich for me, and we'll watch it together. We'll hold hands. Okay, Dan.
That's it. Episode 15 is wrapped. It's your pick?
No, Dan.
It's
I
my
picked
pick.
Afro Samurai. It's your pick.
Well, fuck, Jim. I had a pick for last time, but we just watched an anime, because I was going to say I wanted to
pick
watch
another anime. Do it.
Yeah, okay. So you started watching this anime, and you said, I don't know how I feel, Dan, and I think it's one of the best animes of our generation. I think it will go down. I want you to watch the first season of Mob Psycho 100, and I will rewatch it, because I truly think Mob Psycho 100 will go down as one of the best anime of our generation.
What's that one again?
Mob Psycho is about the little kid with like godlike telekinesis powers and his mentor.
Oh yes,
yeah. Reagan.
I didn't like that. I'll watch that though.
You didn't finish it, correct?
I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes.
You're gonna love it. It's amazing. Like
that's the one where like,
they
have powers and shit, and they're like rated based on what powers they have.
No, I think that's One Punch Man.
No. This is like
he's a telekinetic ESPer.
Yeah, the kid has like powers,
yes.
and he's like learning from this guy, but the guy doesn't really have powers. He just
he's a con man.
Yeah. That's the one I'm thinking.
It's amazing. You're gonna love it, Jim.
Okay, so for
it's only like 12 episodes.
Episode 16 of Shack Out Back. We're bringing it out here. Watch Mob Psycho, whatever. What is it called?
Mob Psycho 100. We're gonna talk about the first season, but watch the second as well.
Okay.
That's a wrap, I think.
How do you want to bring us out here, Dan, on this first anime episode? We haven't had an anime episode yet. How do you want to bring us out?
Double feature anime episode. Jim, I don't really know what I want to talk about. I was thinking about this. I don't know. Just
read me off some of your favorite animes, and I'll fade out on it.
Some of my favorite animes. My definitely favorite anime is Gurren Lagann. That's 100%. I really like Afro Samurai. Mob Psycho's up there. One Punch Man's up there. I like Darker Than Black, My Hero Academia.
Froppy.
That's it. Yeah, that's for. How do you know?
Froppy.
Why did you know
posted that? You posted disgusting like an image of Froppy with a fucking tadpole child. That's why.
Okay, cut out before that. You say that.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, darling.
Goodbye, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Good night, Dan.
Good night, everybody.